Om Vagishadya Sumanasaha Sarvatthanamupakrame Yam Natva Kritakatya Syuhutam Namami Gajananam Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Yoginam Vishwanathakyam Asmattata Swarupinam Atmalabhat Param Labham Vaktaram Nakadachana Gita Grantakataram Sri Gurum Pranamamyaham Yontah Pravishyame Vacham Dhritim Buddhim Prachodayat Om Namah Sababhyas Sabapatibhyascha Bho Namaha Om. Friends, we are going to be doing Sanatana Dharma 17th session today. The title is Chatushloki Bhagavatam. It is Bhagavatam, the essence of Bhagavatam in 4 shlokas. As you know, these topics in Sanatana Dharma are each independent of the rest, and therefore you don't need any prerequisite to view this. Chatushloki Bhagavatam, 4 verses in Bhagavatam. What happens here is the Lord Absolute, Parabrahma, the Lord Absolute. We do not know how, whether it had a form or not when it did this. That Lord Absolute taught the gist of the entire Bhagavatam to Creator Brahma. When? On day 1, when Brahma himself was created, once upon a time, millions and millions of years ago. Actually, the calculation is 4.32, approximately 100 million years ago. Each day of Brahma, you know, has 4.32 million human years. That one day of Brahma is called a kalpa. So, Brahma has gone through several kalpas, several, because he himself is 51 years old now. So, several kalpas. The first kalpa I am talking about. On the day Brahma was created, he came from the Nabhi of the Lord. So, on that day 1, even before creation, before he was going to create the universe, he did not know what to do, and he was totally puzzled and confused, but still thought about the Absolute and prayed to the Lord. And the Lord came before him. In what form we do not know. The Lord came from before him and answered Creator Brahma's question. Creator Brahma asked him, how am I going to create this? What was you tell me the absolute, reality. That is, you are here standing before me in a sthula form, in a concrete form. But I know there is something, a sukshma, a subtle form behind this. What is that subtle form? How is it? Can you tell me all that? And can you also tell me, I am going to do the creation, can you give me a boon such that I will not be bloated? All this happened after the Lord came before him. But before that, what happened? He was there. Brahma had been created. There was nothing before. We cannot even imagine that scene, because water, air, Akasha, everything was going to be created later by Brahma himself. So what was it? Where was he there? Whether he was standing or sitting or floating, in the navel of the Lord, these things, we cannot even imagine. We have just to take things for granted. So he was struggling to find out where he came, where was he and what was he going to do. At that time, he heard a voice. I will not say from the sky because there was no sky. So he heard a voice. And what did that voice say? It said, Tapa. Sachintayan Dvekshara kadam vipa upasrano dvirgaditam vacho vibhu sparsheshu yacchodasame kavimsam nishkinchananam nripayadhanam viduhu. The Shodasha, 16th letter, and Ekavimsha, 21st letter, the Vyasa is writing the Bhagavatam, so he is not directly telling you what sound Brahma heard. The Brahma heard two letters, the two consonants of the Sanskrit alphabet. One was Ta and the other was Pa. Ta is the 16th letter and Pa is the 21st consonant. So the 16th consonant and the 21st consonant he heard. That is what the shloka says. I am now in Skanda 2 of Bhagavatam, chapter 9. So he heard Ta and Pa, Ta and Pa. So he understood that he is being asked by the Lord to do tapas. So he did tapas. He did a long penance for 1,000 years. Very difficult. And the Lord was satisfied. And then he came in a certain form before him. And it is at that time Brahma asked, tell me, what is the Absolute? How is all this, the Sthula and Sukshma, how are they related? What is the Sukshma thing behind the Sthula? Sthula means gross, Sukshma means subtle. What is the subtle thing behind the gross thing that I see before me? Tell me. And after you tell me that, I will start the creation. I know, I do all that. And in all these doings and in getting this knowledge from you, my mind should not get bloated. Please bless me like that. And that is where the Lord begins to tell him, Tvayaham toshitas samyake veda garbhavisisrikshayam chiram bhratena tapasa dussoshasha kuta yoginam varam vare bhadram te varesham abhivanchitam. I am very much satisfied with your tapas, the Lord says, and therefore now I am going to give you a boon. What is the boon you want? And the boon he asked was that his mind should not get bloated even after all the great work that he was going to do. And after giving that assurance, the Lord talked about the absolute knowledge. Jnanam paramaguhyam me yadvijnanam samanvitam sarahasyam tadangancha grihana gaditam maya jnanam teham savijnanam. You see, that says in the 7th chapter of Gita, the Lord says the same thing. I am going to teach you now the jnanam. So here the Lord answers the question of how the world appears, but really it is the absolute reality that appears like that. All this is only a maya, and this is what is being taught in these 4 shlokas. It is all full of Advaita. It is going to be a little difficult. It's a very profound content. I shall go slow. I have all the 4 shlokas as 4 slides on the screen. I will show you you may not be able to read the shloka, but I will read it for you. But you can always have it on the web, for which I will give you the URL where the whole thing is there. So that is how this Chatushloki Bhagavatam begins. These 4 shlokas are considered to be, or called Chatushloki Bhagavatam, and by meditating on these shlokas, by thinking about, by doing nididhyasana on the meaning of these shlokas, one is destined to he will get Brahmajnana. So what is the first shloka? Let me go to the first shloka and you can see the slide now along with my lecture. Ahameva sameva agre nanyat yat sadasat param paschadaham yadetaccha paschadaham yadetaccha yo vashishyeta sosmyagam. That is the first shloka. Ahameva asameva agre. Aham eva asam eva agre. Ahameva asam. I was there before. Ahameva, I myself, I was only I was there. Asam. There is another eva I will tell you presently. Aham eva asam eva agre. Aham eva asam eva agre. In the beginning, I was the only one who was there. Nanyat yat sadasat param. Na anyati yati sadasat param. There was nothing else. Na anyati yati. There was nothing else. Nanyat yat sadasat param. Sadasat param. You see, there was neither different from Sati nor different from Asati. There was nothing there. Beyond the Sati, beyond the Asati, beyond the Stula, beyond the Sukshma, beyond the visible, beyond the invisible. Right? Nothing was there. Nanyat yat sadasat param paschadaham yadetaccha. Paschad, afterwards. Aham yati etaccha. Etati, this universe. Aham etaccha. I am this universe. I am this universe. Mark it. I am this universe. Paschadaham yadetaccha. Yo vashishyeta sosmyagam. What remains after dissolution, after everything disappears, yaha avashishyeta, what remains, sosmyagam, that also I am. I am there before everything. I am there during all this, what you see before you as world, and I am going to be there after all the dissolution. So before, past, present and future, if you think of it in terms of time, I am there. I am the only one who is there. So this establishes Advaita without no doubt. The question might arise, sir, you said this is going to be a summary, essence of the entire Bhagavatam. There is no story here. You are only giving some concepts, abstract concepts. The point is, throughout the Bhagavatam, there are many people, many devotees, and Shuka himself or Vyasa himself, they are talking, people are talking to each other, say Vidura to Maitreya, things like that. Whenever they talk, they expatiate on these abstract concepts, and the same thing comes everywhere. So we cannot touch all those places where Bhagavatam contains these things, but I will show you a few samples where the same idea happens and it is elaborated. Ahameva sameva agre. I am there. I was there before. I was there after, and I am there right here. That is the thing. And so I will take you to the 7th skandha where Prahlada is talking to his student friends. You know, Prahlada was tortured by his father very much because he was always saying Narayana, and his father Hiranyakashipu would not like Narayana, and therefore he said, don't say Narayana, say my name. My name must be propitiated, Narayana should be forgotten. This is the maxim of the king Hiranyakashipu, but Prahlada did not listen. And therefore Prahlada was tortured by being given poison, by being run over by an elephant, all sorts of things. But nothing happened to him. I mean, he was not affected at all. All the time he was reciting aloud, Narayana, like that. So Hiranyakashipu got tired. he asked the teachers who taught Prahlada whether they can suggest any method. Actually, they were younger people. They were sons of Shukracharya. Shukracharya was out of town or something. I mean, he was not in town. So these two people, Shukracharya's two sons, were the gurus of Prahlada. And so they advised Hiranyakashipu, the father, that let us not bother too much now. Let my father, Shukracharya, come. Then we will handle this. Right now we will simply lie low and let things proceed as they are. So there was a kind of a low lying. So the Shukracharya's two sons, who were teachers of Prahlada and his other students, now and then, you see, they might be absent from the hall, room, or patashala, or whatever. And at that time, the contemporaries of Prahlada would want to know, hey, tell us the secret. You have been tortured by your father so much, but nothing has affected you. And you are always saying Narayana, Narayana. What is that mantra? Who taught you that? How do you know all this? And you seem to know more than all the other people. How is it? And so Prahlada replies, yes. When I was in the womb, in my mother's womb, Narada, the great sage Narada, taught me through the artifice of teaching my mother. He was apparently teaching my mother, but I was hearing it from the womb. I remember it. My mother might have forgotten everything, but I remember it. He taught me all the Vedanta at that time. I will tell you what he taught. And that, so he gathers all his friends. They are all 7, 8, 9, 10, that kind of age group. 7, 8, 9, 10, that kind of age group. He collects all of them and teaches them the highest Vedanta. This portion occurs in Skanda 7, chapter 7 of Srimad Bhagavatam, and this has about a few shlokas. This is called Prahlada's Bhakti Sutra. Prahlada Bhakti Sutra. And there he explains what is this Atma. Atma is the permanent thing. And what is this Atma? Janmadya Shari. I am reading from Skanda 7, chapter 7, shloka number 18, 19, 20. See, this comes later, of course, but all these are elaborations of what originally was taught to Brahma. Ahameva sameva grena anyat yat sadasatparam. So here, Janmadya Shari me bhavaha drishtva drishtadehasya natmanah phalana amiva vrikshasya kaleneshwara murthina. Beautiful analogy. Just as fruits grow in trees, they become small, they then grow up, they become some size and big, they mature, and then they decay and die. There are 6 transformations the fruits go through. The same thing, man also, human life also goes through all these 6 vikaras. Janmadya Prahlada is teaching his boyfriends, right? So look at this. Janmadya Shadime Bhavaha Drishtadehasya Natmanaha. For Atma there are no these vikaras. There are no transformations like this. Phalana amiva vrikshasya kaleneshwara murthina. By sheer passage of time, one is born, grows, matures, decays and dies. You see, phalana amiva vrikshasya kaleneshwara murthina. Kalena, by sheer time. So what is that? Atma is not affected by this. So he describes Atma. Atma, beautiful shloka, one has to get by heart. Atma nityopyaya shuddha ekakshetrajna ashrayagam avikriyasvagdr hetuhu vyapako sangyanavritaha. Atma nityaha, permanent, avyayaha, unchanging, unchanging, right? Shuddha, totally pure, unaffected. Shuddha, unaffected by Maya or anything. Ekaha, it is one, neither internal distinction nor external distinction. Kshetrajnaha, he is the one intelligent being which cognizes everything. Kshetrajnaha, he cognizes everything. Ashrayaha, he needs no support, he supports everything else. He supports everything else. Atma needs no support. Avikriyaha, avikriyaha means no action, neither acts nor is acted upon. Avikriyaha. Swadrig, he sees everything. He sees, he watches, he is witness to everything, but he is not seen, he is not visible himself. Swadrig, Hetuhu, he is the primal cause. Hetuhu, cause, but he is not caused, he is never caused, he is a primal cause. Vyapakaha, Vyapaka means transcends, beyond space, beyond time, beyond matter, space, time, matter. He transcends. Vyapakaha. Asangi, he is unattached to anything. Anavritaha, Anavritaha, he can never be negated by anything. Atma nityopyayas shuddha ekakshetrajna ashrayaham avikriyas swadrig hetu vyapako sangyanavritagham. So there are 12 qualities, 12 definitions of Atma he given. Atma nityaha, avyayaha, shuddha, ekaha, kshetrajnaha, ashrayaha, no support, avikriyaha, no action, no acted upon, swadrig, he sees everything but is not seen, hetuhu, he is the cause for everything, vyapakaha, he transcends everything, asangi, he is unattached, anavritaha, he can never be negated. These 12. So he says in the next sloka, Etai Prahlada, 5-year-old boy, 6-year-old boy is talking. Etai dvadashabhir vidvane atmano lakshana parai. By these 12 lakshanas, qualities, one should recognize the Atma. How do you recognize the self? By these 12 qualities. He has already exhausted everything that the Upanishads have stated in various places, in various languages. He has put all of them together in this one sloka. Atma nityopyaya shuddha ekakshetrajna ashrayagam avikriyas swadrighetu vyapako sangyanavrtagam etair dvadashabhir vidvane atmano lakshanai parai. So Atmas, these 12 qualities, one should recognize them. Recognize the Atman. Aham mametya sadbhavam dehadau mohajam tyajet. Aham mametya sadbhavam. I, the I bhava, the I-ness, the I feeling, and mama bhava, mine, feeling of I and mine, they are asad bhava. It is a wrong notion. Dehadau, in dehas, in the body, we should not have any question of being it is mine or it is I, neither I nor mine. Dehadau mohajam tyajet. The wrong feeling comes because of moha, delusion, mohajam. That has to be renounced. That is this. So, that is the Atman that is talking about. Ahameva sameva agre. That is the one which was there before. That is the one which is present all the time. See, he says, Paschadaham yade tacha. I am this, he says. I am this. The question, the difficulty is, people think that Advaita teaches that the world is untrue, unreal. No. See, it is quoted out of context. The world is not unreal in the sense it is absolutely unreal. No. The world appears. The world is there. You have to live in the world. You have to be in the world. Then what is it that is being taught here? Paschad aham yadetacha. I am this, the Lord says. Which means the world, the universe, what you see before you should be seen as the Lord. Should be seen as the Lord. At this point, of course, just now I took Prahlada as the example. In Bhagavatam there are several other. At the end means in the 10th skanda, after everything, Krishna, all those things, Rukmini Kalyanam, all those things are over. Chapter 87, I think. There is what is called a Shruti Gita. Shruti, Vedas. The Vedas are praising the Lord. Even before this Brahma teaching happened. You see, Brahma on day one when he was created, he is being taught by the Lord. But even before that, to wake up the Lord from his Yoga Nidra. Don't ask me where did he have this Yoga Nidra, what was there in there. I mean, don't ask me. I don't know. I can't answer the question, and it is very difficult to answer these questions. So before that, Shruti, all the Vedas are offering a prayer to the Absolute. There was 28 shlokas or 27 shlokas are there, fully Vedanta. We will take it up separately as Shruti Gita lecture. But here, one shloka I want to draw your attention to one shloka, because there is always an accusation against the Advaita people, against Shankara, that he is saying that the world is unreal. He is not saying that the world is unreal. It is not as real as the Absolute. That is all what he is saying. It is less real than the Absolute. It appears. It appears. It is not absolutely real. It is not as absolutely real as the Absolute. So he is not saying that you should throw away this word. Tucham is a word that is commonly used by philosophers, but it does not mean you can throw away the world and forget about it. No, you cannot. You have to live with it. You have to do your karma there. This Shruti Gita, in one shloka, Sadiva manas trivityapi vibhati asadam anujate sadabhimrishantya shesham idamatmatayatma vidaham nahi vikritim tyajanti kanakasya tadatmatayam swakritam anupravishtam idamatmataya vasitam. I am not going to tell you the full meaning of the entire shloka, but one line. Nahi vikritim tyajanti kanakasya tadatmataya. You go to a jewel shop, you buy something, gold ring. It's a golden ring. But do you throw it away that this is not gold, it is only a golden ring. It is only a ring. Do you throw it away? Nahi vikritim tyajanti kanakasya tadatmataya. Vikritim tyajanti. The ring is a different form in which gold appears now. Do people throw it away? Kanakasya tadatmataya. Though it is nothing but gold, you are not, it is different from gold. It is Vikriti, it is a transformation of gold. I don't want it. Is that what people say? No, not at all. Like that. The world, it is the Lord that is appearing before you as the world, as the universe. So you cannot say it is Tucham. You cannot ignore the universe. You cannot ignore the laws of the universe. You cannot ignore the obligations that you have to do in the world, in the universe. Nahi vikritim tyajanti kanakasya tadatmataya. Beautiful Shruti quotation in itself. So that way, ahameva sameva agre. I was there before. I was there. Yo vasishyeta sespaham. Even afterwards, I am the one who is there. The world is not as real as the Lord, I said, but it appears to me here, it appears before you, and it appears as a kind of an apparent reality. That apparent reality itself, it borrows. It exists. It borrows that existence from the existence of the Lord. Adhisthana Satta and Adhyastha Satta. Adhisthana Satta means the base, the existence of the base. The base is the Lord. Adhyastha Satta means the existence of the truth of the superimposed thing. The world is superimposed on the Lord. It gets its status of existence, status of truth from the truth of the Lord. From the Adhisthana Satta, just as the clay pot, it is not wholly true as a pot. Ultimately, it is only clay. So it gets its existence from its base, clay. So ahameva sameva agre nanyat yat sadasat param paschadaham yadetacha yo vashishyeta sosmegam. Get by heart these 4 shlokas and think about them carefully. I will go to the next shloka now, shloka number 2 of Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Ritertham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyadatmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. Terrific. The shloka is terrific. This gives you the property of Maya. You see? Very beautifully. Ritertham yat pratiyeta. Artham rite. Artham rite means without meaning, without substance. Without substance, something appears. Yat pratiyeta. Na pratiyeta chatmani. Something does not appear at all. All of them happen in Atma. Understand that all this is Atmano Maya. It is my Maya. Yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. He gives the analogy there. I will explain it. There's a lot to explain here, so I will spend a lot of time on this shloka. Yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. Abhasaha means reflection. Tamaha means darkness. Abhasa means reflection. Now, yes, what does reflection do? Reflection is totally dependent on the object. The object is tall, reflection is tall. Object is small, reflection is small. If the object is bright, like that. So, totally dependent on object. On the other hand, darkness leaves no residue when it dissolves. When darkness goes away, there is no residue of darkness. Well, that is one way of looking at it. You can see, reflection, what does it do? It shows existence where there is no existence. Reflection in a mirror. There is nothing there, but it shows the existence. So it shows existence where there is no existence. On the other hand, what does darkness do? Shows non-existence where there is existence. In darkness you don't see anything. You think there is nothing there, but actually there are so many other things. There are furniture in the room. If it is dark, you can't see them. So it shows non-existence when there is existence. Right? So the abhasaha and tamaha, like that, I hope it goes on. It works. Abhasaha and tamaha, darkness and reflection, these two here are compared to Maya. This is Maya. Ritertham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyadatmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tamaham. Later in Kapilopakhyana, in the Skanda 4, there is Kapila teaching the Devahuti Vedanta. There he says, explains this abhasa very interestingly. Let us go back to a house in a village. Usually village houses have an open courtyard within the house, open to the sky, and around that courtyard there will be passages which are roofed portions, and then for the roofed portion there is on the other side there is a wall also. Now this open courtyard, you keep a vessel, big vessel of water, and when it is daytime, when the sun is there in the sky, the sun gets reflected in the water. But it doesn't stop there. It sends back a reflection of light, bright light, like sunlight, to the dark roofed room where the sun is not visible, but this reflection throws up a light on the wall. So on the wall there is light. Where does this light come from? This light comes from the reflection of the sun in the water in the courtyard. But that itself is a reflection. That is not the real sun. The real sun is somewhere else, up in the sky. This is exactly what happens in our mind, human body, human mind. How does it happen? Kapilopakhyaana, that is Kapila Gita, Kapila's teaching to Devahuti, how it explains this reflection idea. Beautifully he is explaining that. Yatha jalastha bhasaha stalasthena vadrishyate swabhasena tata surjagam jalasthena divistitaham. This takes up, this is where I gave you the example of the village house where there is a open courtyard and a roofed adjoining corridor or whatever, and the sun is reflected in the vessel of water in the open courtyard, and that sends out a reflection to the wall which is otherwise dark. Here he says, Yatha jalastha abhasaha. In the water there is a reflection. This is the first reflection in water of the sun. Stalasthena vadrishyate. It is reflected a second time into the wall. Swabhasena tata surjaha jalasthena divistitaham. So you look at the light in the wall, you have to infer the reflection, the light in the vessel of the water vessel. And by looking at that, you have to infer the existence of the sun up above. So also, in our human mind, when we think we know everything, we are cognizant, we are conscious of things, this consciousness comes from the chit which is inside. But that chit itself is a reflection in our mind of the absolute chit which is there everywhere. So that is it. That kind of inference we have to do. Evam trivridahankaro bhutendriya manomagaihi swabhasair lakshito nena sadabhasena satyadrike. So Kapila continues. That is how we have to infer the existence of the permanent absolute light, which sends its fragment of chit to your mind where it is reflected, and that reflection makes you see, cognize and do whatever. Evam trivrid ahankara bhutendriya manomaya swabhasair lakshito nena sadabhasena. By the fact that I am able to speak, I am able to say I exist, that itself is an indication that there is an absolute existence behind me. So, Ritertham yat prasiyeta na prasiyeta chatmani tadvidyadatmano mayam. So the appearance and what appears and disappears, what appears has a borrowed existence. It is not real as the original. This is the idea here, and that is how it is called Maya. Oh, there are so many things one can say about Maya in Vedanta. We will take one explanation from Viveka Chudamani. I think it is the 111th shloka or something. Right? There he says, Maya has three powers. Vikshepa Shakti, Avarana Shakti, Jnana Shakti. Vikshepa Shakti, Avarana Shakti, and Jnana Shakti. Right? Where is my paper? Yes. Now, Avarana is hiding. This hides the reality from us. This is Avarana, this hiding power of Maya that produces the Vikshepa. Once the moment there is Avarana, immediately it is followed by Vikshepa. Because when the real thing is hidden, you see something else as real. So something else is projected as the reality. There are three qualities in Prakriti: Tamas, Rajas, and Sattva. Tamas is the cause of the Avarana. Maya is the product of this Prakriti. Maya is Prakriti. So Tamas, the Avarana quality, hiding quality, right, obscuring quality is because of Tamas. The Vikshepa, projection quality, projection of something which is not there as if it is there. That is what we see. We are seeing the projection of the Lord as the universe. The universe is only a projection. The original is the Lord. So that is the Vikshepa. Avarana and Vikshepa. Avarana is caused by Tamas. Vikshepa is caused by Rajas. Jnana Shakti is caused by Sattva. These three Shaktis are the Shaktis of Maya. But what does this Avarana do? It's very powerful. It is the obscuring capacity of the Tamas, ignorance, is very great. It has three effects. What are the three effects? One gets a samshaya bhavana, doubts in the words of the Guru or the Shastras. Samshaya bhavana. So Avarana causes three things. One is samshaya bhavana, doubt. Samshaya is doubt. Doubts in the words of the Guru and the Shastras. Then secondly, it causes asambhavana. What is asambhavana? Jiva Brahma Aikyam is not possible. That is asambhavana. That is, one is not prepared to believe that Jiva and Brahma. See, ultimately Advaita says that this Jiva is the same as Brahman. Tattvamasi, we are saying. So this Jiva Brahma Aikyam cannot be possible, is the doubt, is the difficulty in our mind. This is asambhavana. This is also a cause of avarana. One more. Atmavastuni, anatmavastuni, atmabhavana. We can think that the BMI is the self. I am the BMI, body, mind, intellect. So, anatmavastuni, the non-self, is considered as the self. This is another third effect, side effect of this avarana. There is a cure for all this. What is the cure? The samshaya bhavana, the doubts in the words of the Guru and Shastras, will be gone only by doing continuous, repeated Shravana. The asambhavana, the doubt about the Jiva Brahma Aikyam, this can be raised only by repeated thinking, manana. After Shravana, after listening to the various teachings of various Upanyasakas, various books, various expositors, etc. Finally, you have to repeatedly think about this. Manana, churn it in your mind. That manana is the cue for the asambhavana. And nididhyasana, the final meditation, where one is almost convinced about so many things, but still he has the vestige of the anatma vastuni, atma bhavana is left. The body, mind, intellect as the atman, that doubt is still there. That will go only by nididhyasana. So that is the effect of Maya, and that is why that is the Maya that is talked about here. Ritairtham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tam na pratiyeta chatmani. Tadvidya adatmano mayam yatha vaso yatha tamaham. We will now go to the third shloka of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Third shloka. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu chavacheshvanu pravishtanya pravishtani tathateshu nateshvakam. All the elements, the fundamental elements, big elements, mahanti bhutani bhuteshu uchavacheshvanu, in all the beings, it has come into the various combinations. They have come into these beings. That is how, every being is a combination of the various elements. Not only high type of living beings, low type of living beings, high and low. Right? Bhuteshu uchavacheshu anupravishtani. The elements have entered these beings. But have they entered? Because the combinations have made these bhutas, the beings, but the elements have their properties unaffected. They have their the five fundamental elements, they have their property. Pravishtanya pravishtani. Therefore, you cannot say they have entered these combinations. You cannot also say they have not entered these combinations. They are in them, they are not also in them. Tathateshu nateshvakam. That is how I am. The Lord is speaking. That is how I am. I have entered within quote unquote. I have entered all the beings, the entire universe. I have not entered them. In fact, you may recall the Gita statement, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matsani sarva bhutani nachagam teshvavastitagam. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matsani sarva bhutani. Matsani, every being, everything is in me. Matsani sarva bhutani. In the next shloka he says, this is chapter 9, 7th and 9th shlokas. Nachamatstani bhutani. It is not, I am not there. In the one shloka he says, everything is in me. In the next shloka he says, no, there nothing is in me. It looks like a contradiction. This contradiction can be beautifully explained. It is one of the greatest, choicest explanations of Advaita philosophy. The rope snake example. The rope snake example. The snake appears on the rope. Have you seen the snake? Yes. Where did you see it? On the rope. Really, is the snake there on the rope? No, not at all. So what is, you see the two contradictory statements coming by the way you ask your question. Where is the snake? On the rope. Where did you see the snake? On the rope. Is the snake really there? No. So is the world there? No, it's not there. But where is the world? Where it appears. Where is the world? It is the basic is the Lord, the basic substance, the basis is the Lord. So the Lord appears as the prapancha. You see, that is why the prapancha has a certain existence. It borrows the existence from the adhisthana. That is why adhisthana and adhyasa. And the fourth sloka is great. Etavadeva jignasyam tattva jignasunatmanaham अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम यस्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा एतावदेव जिज्ञास्यम. This is all you should know. Etavadeva, this much alone you should know. You means who? Tattva jijñāsunātmanah, he who wants to know the truth of the Atman. Etavadeva jijñāsyam. That's all. If you know this, it's over. Good. Anvaya vyatirekabhyam yasyat sarvatra sarvada. Anvaya vyatirekabhyam. Two technical words. Anvaya and vyatireka. Two technical words. Yasyat, I will explain this. Yasyat sarvatra sarvada. What is there? Everywhere and always. Understand by Anvaya and Vyatireka. What is Anvaya? What is Vyatireka? Is it? Mattaf parataram Gita. Mattaf parataram nanyati kinchidasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre manigana. Just as pearls, gems are strung in a cord, in a row, in a string. Sutre manigana iva. In a string, manigana, the gems, the pearls or whatever, are strung together. Now, who is holding all the pearls together, all the gems together? Only the ring, only the string, right? So the string integrates them. The string is the basis. The string is the one which holds them together. That is Anvaya. This holding together. This basis. But actually the string is separate from the jewels, from the gems. That is Vyatireka. So Vyatireka is difference. Anvaya is in some sense unity. The point, you can explain it in several different ways. Right? Clay pot. Clay pot. Clay pot. Right? For the clay pot, what is the source? Clay. The clay has gone into the clay pot. So there is a continuity from the clay to the clay pot. This continuity is Anvaya. But the clay is separate entity. And the pot, clay pot, it is a pot. You know the distinction between that. So this distinctness between the cause and the effect, that is Vyatireka. I will give you another way of looking at it. Immanence. The Lord is everywhere. He is in everything. There is nothing in which He is not there. This is immanence. That continuity of the Lord in everything is Anvaya. On the other hand, you cannot say therefore the Lord is just this. He transcends Sahasra Sirisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtat Dashangulam. He transcends. He transcends. He is beyond this. He transcends space, time and matter. So that transcendence, Vyapakatvam, that is Vyatireka. Right? Anvaya and Vyatireka. Tamil language has a beautiful word for God. It is Kadavul. There are two words that are strung together in that Kadavul. Kada and Vul. Kada comes from the verb Kadandu irikkirathu. Kadandu is transcending. Kada denotes transcendence. Vul denotes immanence, antaryami, inside. Ul means inside. So Ul stands for immanence, Kada stands for transcendence, therefore Kadavul. So one is Anvaya, the other is Vyatireka. Remember, this Anvaya and Vyatireka are two important concepts of the Advaita Vedanta, Vedanta particularly. And here, at this point, the words Anvaya Vyatireka comes. Right in the first shloka of Bhagavatam, Janmadhyasya jatonmayadidarataschatte subhijñaswarat tene brahmagridaya adikavaye mukhyanti yatsurayagam. So in that very shloka itself, Janmadhyasya jatonmayaditaratha, anvayaditaratha, by continuity. In fact, the Taittiriya Upanishad talks about the various koshas, pranamaya kosha, annamaya kosha inside. Anvayam Purusha Vidaham. This Annamaya Kosha is continuing in the Pranamaya Kosha. So inside the Pranamaya Kosha is inside. There is no question of inside. It is the same thing. It is continuing. There is an Anvaya. Anu Ayam. So Janmadhyasya Yatonmayadi, that is one place where this thing comes. And again in Prahlada's Stuti, it comes chapter 7. Yes, chapter 7. Prahlada talks about this Anvaya Vyatireka Abhyam. Let me get it for you. 1 minute. He says that he has described the Lord, the Atma. He says, Anvaya Vyatireka Abhyam, you have to find it by doing Anvaya. Anvaya is the continuity, as I told you. Vyatireka is the distinctness, as I told you. By these two qualities, one has to recognize the Atman. That is what he says to his boys. The boys may not have understood it, but Prahlada understood it so well, and it is given to us. So, yes, in fact, in Dhruva Stuti, there is a beautiful shloka. Sriyang nagat vijasati sripadeva daityamatyadi vipparichitam sadasat vishesham. Sati asati, this Maya which explains all these things, that is neither sati nor asati. It is anirvachaniya, it is beyond this, beyond both. Sadasat vishesham. All this is, but Dhruva says, you are saying that there is something beyond this. I am not understanding this. I understand Tiryang Nagad Dvija Sari Sripadeva Martya. The animals, the mountains, the reptiles, the Sari Sripa, and Deva Daitya Martyadivi, the divines, human people, those who fly, these things, this nature. All these things I are saying, they are nothing but the Lord. They are Rupam Savishtam Ajate Mahadat Janekam Natah Param Paramavedmi Nayatra Bhavadaga. Beyond this there is something which you all say, I have no idea, I don't understand it. But this is enough for me, he says. That is why you have to see the world as the Lord. See the universe as the Lord. Yaf pashyati sapashyati, says the Gita. That is how one should see the universe. He who sees the universe like that. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamayi pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Whoever sees me everywhere. So when you see nature, see Lord, see the Lord. This is the fundamental truth of the Advaita. And all this has been taught to the Creator Brahma right at the time of creation, even before the time of creation. This is the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. I am sure every one of us will be respecting with great faith these Chatushloki Bhagavatam and get it by heart and do the Nididhyasana on it so that we understand the Brahman and Atman very quickly. Swasthi prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena maghim mahisha go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam lokas samasta sukhino bhavantu. You use the same title, say part 2.